Over the past decade, transgender people have become more visible in movies and television. Sometimes these portrayals are downright bigoted, but there have been a few good ones that have shed light on the issues that transgender people face. So what about one of my favorite mediums? Video games. This video I am going to talk about some transgender characters in video games. This list is by no means exhaustive, but maybe we could shed a little bit light on how far, if at all, the video game industry has come in terms of transgender issues. Argued to be one of the first transgender characters to appear in a video game, Birdo, or should I say Burdette, from Super Mario Bros. 2. This character was a pink dinosaur with a bow on their head, and they showed up as a mini-boss. They would spit an egg from their mouth, and you're supposed to jump on the egg, grab it, and throw it right back. The instruction booklet describes Birdo as being, he thinks he is a girl, and he spits eggs from his mouth. He'd rather be called Birdetta. There is a typo in the instruction booklet that lists the character as Ostro, but when we look at Ostro's little bio, we see that they accidentally got the two names mixed around. But the other entry is kind of funny when you look at it and think of it as under Birdo. The character resurfaced in a Japanese-only game, Captain Rainbow, in which she was jailed for using the girls' bathroom because the police officer didn't think that she was a girl. She also shows up as a trophy in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. In this, the trophy states that Birdo is a pink creature of indeterminate gender that some say would rather be called Birdetta. A big ribbon on its head is its most distinguishing feature. In Super Mario Bros. 2, you can return fire on Birdo by jumping on the egg shot from its mouth. Be careful not to get psyched out by the fake egg fireballs. In that description, they refer to the character as indeterminate gender. But throughout many of the Mario sports games, they describe the character using female pronouns. So, Birdo, Birdetta, you keep rocking that bow and that ring. Ah, Bridget, from the fast-paced fighting game series Guilty Gear X. In this game, she dresses in a nun's habit, fights with a yo-yo, and always keeps her teddy bear at the ready. The backstory of this character is that she comes from a town where it's considered bad luck for there to be two twin boys in a family. So to avoid misfortune, Dizzy was renamed Bridget and raised as a girl. The transgender status of this character was not kept secret. It actually becomes a story point throughout the game as many characters react and in many different ways about finding out that the character happens to be trans. This extends also into real life when many players are surprised and unfortunately horrified to find that they found that transgender character cute. And so an internet meme came about of pulled a Bridget on him. I should note that this character was voiced by a female voice actress. I don't play that many fighting games, but I have played Guilty Gear X a lot. And I can give you one guess of which character I got really good at. Poison wasn't originally intended to be transgender. The character first appeared in the Final Fight games, which were a beat-em-up series much along the same lines as Double Dragon or Streets of Rage. Due to censorship issues, it was worried how it would look for your character to be beating up on girls. So the creators were like, oh no, 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 no. She's a transsexual, so it's okay. I'm not going to get into why that bothers me, but it should be pretty self-explanatory. The character reappears in many different iterations of the Street Fighter series, Street Fighter 3, Alpha, 4, some other Capcom fighting games too. And it was finally revealed by the Street Fighter 4 producer Yoshinori Ono that the character is a transsexual. In a recent issue of EGM, he says, "Let's set the record straight. In North America, Poison is officially a post-op transsexual. But in Japan, she simply just tucks her business away in order to look like a girl." This has created quite a stir in the gaming community, just the same way as Bridget has. Many people shout out, "Oh no, she's a trap." Well, you know what? You don't want to tell any trans girl that. You especially don't want to tell Poison, because she'll come over there and kick your butt. Ferris from Final Fantasy V. I was debating whether or not to include this character, but they remind me a lot of Joan of Arc. Ferris used to be a princess, but ended up becoming a pirate captain. In order to commandeer respect of her crew, she adopted a male persona. I use the female pronouns because I don't think she identifies as female to male transsexual, but she reminds me of a lot of women throughout history who have adopted male styles of dress and name, such as Joan of Arc, women pharaohs who portray themselves with the beard, women who have enlisted in to fight in the Civil War as men. And it's never clear throughout history if they were doing it to have access to jobs they weren't given earlier or they identified as men. So I'm including Ferris because I think they are a representation of transgenderism. Many of you out there are confused why I'm including Fable 2. Well, one of my friends, she finished the game and said that you could make a transgender character. You could choose a male-bodied avatar and clothing wasn't restricted by sex. Later on in the game, there's an Easter egg item that is a potion that will grant your character a sex change. So I guess it's an epic fantasy quest to be able to get SRS. Kane from the recently released game Nier on PS3 and Xbox 360. Unfortunately, I have not had the opportunity to play this game, but Square Enix does mention that she is a futanari, which is a intersex individual. And due to a lot of the teasing that she got, she dresses and presents herself as female, but supposedly still talks in a very masculine way. So this is not the first time that Square Enix has had gender ambiguous characters. Maybe that's why I love the Final Fantasy series so much. Naota Shirogane from Persona 4 on the PS2. In this RPG, a group of high school students are trying to figure out why everyone is dying when they watch the Midnight Channel. Naota is one of the youngest members of the police force, and he goes undercover at the high school as a student. It's later on revealed that the character was physically born female, but he's uncomfortable being seen as such. He wants to earn the respect of his fellow officers. He has very masculine hobbies. He wears loose-fitting clothes so as to hide the curves of his body. There is a scene when he has a medical examination done, and he takes the results because he doesn't want anybody to find out. So what conclusion can we reach? Well, transgender representation in video games is limited. There are a lot of transsexuals working in the video game industry, so change may come, but I don't see it happening in the near future. There are a lot of what they show male characters dressing up as female just for laughs, but I don't think these are really issues of gender identity. There's also a lot of representation of transgender people in anime, but I still think it'll be a while before we see an actual depiction of what it's like for a transgender person. This list by no means is the be-all end-all, so I invite everybody to comment if they know about any other characters or of what you think about this video. Feel free to subscribe if you want. I was thinking of also doing a video on transgender anime if people like this one. So I'd love to hear from everybody.